Welcome to The Hook, episode 48. So today is the USA Eagles versus Rugby Union of Russia Bears preview. What do we got? Right now, guess what? Reg 9 says that you have to have your selections into World Rugby 72 hours in advance. Russian Rugby Union has not published their roster at this time, so I really can't talk about who's who. But I do have a list of who was supposed to fly to the United States. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But yesterday I was on the horn with a bunch of other media folks for the USA versus Russia virtual press conference with Gary Gold and Blaine Scully. So we'll get into that a little bit. But some of the guys that Russia's bringing, for the most part, they are all, professional in the Russian league. So I'm going to butcher all of these names. Alexander Budichenko, Pavel Butenko, Dmitry Gerasimov, Yevgeny Yelgin, Dmitry Krotov, Yuri Yushnarev, Alexei Mikhaltsov, Valery Morozov, Andrei Polivalor, Evgeny Pronenko, Stanislav Selsky, Anton Rudoy, Alexei Sherban, Konstantin Uzunov, Vasily Artemiev, Andrei Garbusov, Cyril Golasnitsky, Vasily Dorofeev, Anton Ryabov, Bogdan Fedotko, Valery Chishnobilidze, Vladimir Chaban, Mikhail Babayev, German Godlunyuk, got that one wrong, Anton Drozdov, Evgeny Matveyev, Sergei Sakisov, Sergei Trishin, Nikita Vavilin, Evgeny Misheshkin, Tagir Hajiev, Anton Sishev. I think it was is it Budichenko? I think it was Budichenko has some visa issues, so that's going to be interesting to see what's going on with them. And, I don't know who their starting 23 is. No. So it's really hard to know what they've got. But so if we go back to the last time we played them, right? We beat them 25-0 in Sacramento, I think it was. And we scored one try. And then the rest of the points came via, penalty kicks. So that gives you an idea of how that game went. They're extremely physical. They're very big up front. And, they like to kick a lot. But when I think about it, they're under an interim head coach. They're searching now for their head coach for their World Cup campaign. They just now, the appeals for Romania and España have been denied by the Independent Appeals Commission from World Rugby. So Russia is Europe 1. They are going to play the opening game against Japan in the Rugby World Cup. So we are playing a World Cup team. So this is a team that's going to want to, they're out for scalps on this tour. They want to play hard. They want to just prepare themselves for, that big tourney in a year and a half. And we have to do the same. We have to prepare ourselves. Yeah, I didn't want to play Russia, to be honest. I wanted to play a bigger side. I was hoping, at the time, we would play Spain because Spain's pretty good. But now they're, DQ'd, so it doesn't matter, right? And so going forward, let's look at our boys. This side is impressive. I haven't seen a side like this ever under the Eagles, whether it was Tolkien or Mitchell. You always had some amateur players. There were no amateur players on this roster for the 31 that was called into camp. You originally had 30, then Callum Black withdrew, so T. Lamosatelli was called in. And then David Ayunu out of Toulouse Academy, who has signed a 3-year deal with Toulouse, extending his academy stay, was also called into camp. For the guys that were released from camp, so we have cut down to 26. So 4 days before a match, you have to cut down to 26 on your full roster. So you have 23 guys that are going to play in a game, and then you have 3 guys that are injury reserves. The guys that were released from camp were Ruben De Haas and David Ayunu, and they have joined up with the U20s for their Junior World Trophy qualifying series against Canada that will take place in Houston. Ben Sema, Ryan Matias, and who else was it? Sorry, I have this in my notes. Should know this. Siausi Mahoney were released to the San Diego Legion. And they will not return to the Eagles camp unless Gary needs them pretty bad, because we're basically playing at a point where you'll have 2 practice days that are ahead of that period of 46. So there's really no point in bringing guys back into camp unless there are injuries. So that really helps the MLR teams when it comes to San Diego making their trip to New Orleans tomorrow. So they're in New Orleans right now. So they've got 1 day to just get ready for that heat. But let's talk about our squad. This squad's really good, man. I have not seen a squad like this with this much beef, with this much firepower ever. So we got Eric Fry starting at Lasike Prop from Van Rugby Club in France. Joe Tufate, hooker, Worcester Warriors in England. Paul Mullen, debutant, starting Tighthead Prop for the Houston SaberCats. Number 4 lock, Samu Manoa from Rugby Club Toulon. Number 5 lock, Nick Chavetta from Newcastle Falcons, now Doncaster Knights. Number 6, blindside flanker, John Quill, Glendale Raptors. Number 7, open side flanker, Hanco Germishuys from the Austin Elite. Number 8 is Cam Dolan from the San Diego Legion. Number 9, scrum half, Shaun Davies, Glendale Raptors. Number 10, AJ MacGinty, fly half, Sail Sharks. Number 11, blindside wing, a.k.a. the left side wing, is Marcel Brocky, Western Force. Inside center, Paul Lasike, Utah Warriors. Outside center, Bryce Campbell, Glendale Raptors. Number 14, captain, open side wing, Blaine Scully, Cardiff Blues. Number 15, fullback, Will Hooley, Bedford Blues. And your bench is James Hilterbrand, reserve hooker, Manly Marlins. And Southside Dolphins, I think. Whoever's the Dolphins in the NRC. Then you have Loosehead Prop, reserve, Olive Khalifi, Seattle Seawolves. Tighthead Prop, reserve, Chris Bowman, Leicester Tigers. Reserve lock, Greg Peterson, Glasgow Warriors. Reserve flanker, Ben Landry, Glendale Raptors. Reserve scrum half, Nate Augsburg. Reserve fly half, Will McGee. Reserve fullback wing and center probably. He's probably going to see at least 2 of those positions this weekend. Is Dylan Owsley, San Diego Legion. So who are our injury reserves? Those 3 guys. We got Dylan Fawcett. He has been released to play for the Eagles. Not the Eagles, for the Raptors this weekend because the team is in Denver, so he did not have to travel. 2 players that have not been released, obviously T.D. Lamosatelli, the season for the Saracens Rugby Club is over. So He doesn't have anywhere to go. And then Billy Tolutau has been retained and has made the final 26 on his first Eagles call-up. I'm pretty sure he's going to cap, because you can't go this far and not earn that cap, right? So that's your 26 that will stay with the team through most of this period. And, why is this group special? So we look at the group up front. We've got some really athletic guys with your front three. Eric Fry, he's a big loose head. He's strong. He's strong. It says a lot that this guy is his first start for the Eagles in 3 years. He was selected for the Autumn Internationals, but he had a hernia and required surgery. And then, he got himself back into form with Van in the spring and earned selection here, and his starting over Olive Khalifi and T. Lamostella. So that says a lot. Gary Gold, it was very impressed with him. He's a consummate professional, gets to work. Joe Tofate, Mighty Joe, he's our guy. He's a mauler as a hooker up front, And then we got Paul Mullen, classically trained Irish prop, Munster U20, also a high school All-American. Why you're saying, why is this guy starting now versus, in previous times is, he's back to playing high-level rugby is part of it. But a couple of years ago, and I think it, just ended, he was serving a ban for a bunch of red cards he had taken playing rugby. And, he had to he wanted to play rugby. So he made a deal with the ref association in Texas, and he became a ref. So we're talking about a qualified ref as a prop. So he knows the laws. He knows, probably where the line is every single time. And then our lock pairings, this is great. Samu Manoa plays a lot of lock for Toulon, and he also plays a lot of number 8. So you've got a really athletic guy, and then you've got your big line-out threat, the 6'7" guy in Nick Chavetta, from Newcastle. That's a great pairing. You've got, a 4'6" in Samu, and then you got your standard big guy on the right. And then John Quill, Johnny Locks is back in the side. He's been having a really good season for the Glendale Raptors. And then we've got my man, Hanco Germishuys, the Hammer, pulling into 7 with Tony Lamborn out. He's been playing 7 most of the season for the Austin Elite. He's been having a great season. Last week was the first game. He didn't have a try, but if you add it all up, I think he would have had, he has one more try than he's played games. So it's good to go. And then Cam Dolan, another great line-out threat, hyper-athletic, physical number 8 to round out your scrum. This question was asked yesterday in the press conference about Shaun Davies and Nate Augsburger, like who's winning the battle. For me, you look at Nate Augsburger's game, and it's always very much relied on the athleticism that he has and not really the core competencies. But I will point out that his core competencies as a scrum half have directly improved since playing in the MLR. His ball speed, ball placement out of the ruck and ruck management is getting better. But the same reason why he's been selected, I think, over Shaun Davies in the past, or what Shaun Davies has improved upon this year in the MLR season. He's gotten more athletic. He's gotten more confident around the ruck, so he'll make all those quick carries. He's real physical. When it comes to his ball speed, ball placement to the next pod or to his fly half Will McGee, it's been perfect almost during this season. It's been great. I think his form earned him the start, but his form got him into camp, just like Nate's form got him into camp, and they earned it. But guess what? They're the 2 scrum halves retained, and Ruben DeHaas has been released. So that says what's up there. And then you go to out half, fly half, AJ MacGinty. He was a top 5 goal kicker in the premiership this year after missing a bunch of games when he got injured. So that says a lot about him. He's kind of set at fly half, but he's getting pushed by Will McGee and Will Hooley. Marcel Brocky for the Western Force, plays a lot of wing, plays a lot of center, with Paul Lasike coming in and earning the start at 12. Marcel pushes out from 13 to 11, so that really pushes out Ryan Matias, who's been sent back to the Legion. That's going to give you a big physical wing on the left side. That's going to be really good. He's got speed. He's healthy now. It's going to be great. Talking about Paul Lasike and Bryce Campbell, there's 500 pounds in the centers right now. And, people have asked, do you really want both these brutish guys? Well, if you've been looking at England and the way they've been playing, well, you can't have two defensive liabilities at 10 and 12. And right now, George Ford is definitely a defensive liability. And, Faz hasn't been tackling much. But guess what? Lasike isn't. He's a defensive liability. Okay? He's ball carrier. The distributor, if you look at Bryce Campbell's game, he's really gotten better when it comes to, being able to pass the ball around. So I really liked the Bryce Campbell and Dylan Owdsley pairing during the ARC. I think we're going to see more of that. I think Bryce has been demanded by his coaches at Glendale to improve his game. And, part of the improvement of his game has gotten him a contract with the London Irish for next season. So I think that's going to be a great pairing. It's going to be physical. It's sort of how I like to play when it comes to, put these big, hulking, fast, physical athletes in the centers. You want to punish the opposition. And then we've got Blaine Scully captaining from the open side wing. Skipper, man. He's athletic. He's got it. And then this is the real interesting one. People are asking about Will Hooley earning fullback starts. So you've got two fly halves on the field at the same time. But basically, you've got four fly halves on the field, like on this roster. You got AJ MacGinty, Will McGee, Will Hooley, and Dylan Owdsley. So you really want to know what we're trying to play. Well, we're going to play a pressure offense. We're going to push the ball out of our back half and try to play it in their half the entire time. Gary Gold said one of his KPIs was being in the Russian 22 a minimum of 15 times and scoring. The intent here is to put pressure on the Russians, play physical ball, and score often. That's what this side gives you. And, you're going to have a fresh front row in all of Khalifi, James Hildebrand, and Chris Bowman. And then you've got a lock, a normal lock that's going to come in probably for Chivetta. And then Ben Landry, who's usually like a 4-6, like Samu is going to be used in this game. So I want to say that we're going to beat Russia pretty bad. I want to win 45-5. I think they're going to be able to score because, holding people down is just a bit tough. But when I asked Gary about the environmental effects and if that was an advantage, he's like, I don't look for advantages. Weather ain't going to help us play good rugby. And he was emphatic. He was getting after it. So can't wait to talk to him after the fact on Saturday night. I'm Aaron Castro for The Hook. Go Eagles.